Hello, my name is Athanasios Jakara, and I'm going to be doing my Chapter 9 presentation on space junk. So what is space junk? Space junk is debris from objects that humans send up into space that are no longer serving a purpose and are no longer in use. Space junk can potentially collide with other space junk, which leads to collisions of the objects, and those collisions will lead the objects to breaking off into more pieces, and that's going to increase space junk in Earth's orbit. And the cycle is like a snowball effect as humans keep on sending more and more things into orbit without clearing and cleaning any of the space junk. The amount of space junk will increase drastically. So when did space junk start? Well, in 1957, the space race between Russia and the US was happening, and Russia sent up Sputnik, and that was the first anything in space from humans. And after that, satellites and objects kept on getting sent by up into orbit by more and more countries. And as you can see in these pictures, things started getting exponentially worse. In 1957, there was nothing. In 1992, there was quite a lot. And in 2015, which was 7 years ago, there was a drastic increase in space junk. And as time keeps on going on, maybe another decade, maybe another 2 decades, space junk will be a terrible problem, way worse than it was even in that picture in 2015. So why is space junk bad? Well, space junk's bad for a multitude of reasons. A couple of reasons include the more space junk that is in Earth's orbit, the more chance it has of colliding with working satellites, spacecrafts, or space stations. And this not only increases the amount of space junk in orbit, like I said about the snowballing effect, but it can also put astronauts in orbit in danger. If there are astronauts, let's say, in the International Space Station and it gets hit by space junk, not only will parts of the International Space Station fly off and keep and include into space junk, but astronauts can also potentially get hurt and even die. And also, we're already polluting the Earth on its surface. So polluting it in space because of increasing technology will end up destroying the Earth. So space commercialization is making space junk exponentially worse. And the reason for that is because money and technology are the driving force of space commercialization, as well as humans in general. And as satellite companies and other companies are making more money and people are enjoying watching television, more and more satellites are going to keep on getting sent up into orbit without any care. And that can lead to some bad things, as you can understand. Also, countries are always trying to prove that they're more superior and they want to make more money. So they're also going to keep on sending more and more objects into orbit, and that's just going to add to the problem of space junk. So space warfare will also make space junk drastically worse. Powerhouse countries such as China, the US, and Russia are trying to develop space weaponry in order to counter threats from other countries' satellites. As you can see in this picture, a satellite gets hit by a missile, and one object, which was the satellite, turns into a multitude of objects, the debris of the destroyed satellite. And the debris is not going to go anywhere. It's just going to stay in orbit, and it's going to increase the amount of space junk that we have and increase the problem. And it's not going to make anything better. So how much space junk is in Earth's orbit? So there's over 2,500 satellites as of 2021, over 29,000 objects larger than 10 centimeters over 2021, over 670,000 pieces of debris larger than 1 centimeter as of 2021, and over 670 million pieces of debris larger than 1 millimeter as of 2021. The amount of debris and space junk in Earth's orbit is terrifying when we begin to think about the fact that there was zero in 1957 and over only in a timeline of 64 years since these numbers were recorded, there's been that much space debris. And as time goes on and technology keeps on increasing and advancing, this number will only continue to exponentially increase. So how can we fix it? Well, the solution is simple. We can just clean up the space junk, send less objects into orbit, bring objects which are no longer serving a function or no longer serving a purpose back to the surface so that instead of letting them stay in Earth's orbit. And we can also set a clear line for how much space junk is allowed before we should clean it up. So the conclusion is that our Earth is a very beautiful place and it is one of a kind. and humanity should strive to conserve its beauty instead of racing to destroy it like we are currently. And those are my sources. Thank you very much.